I didn't want to be an actor until I was about 17, 18. And I'd always done it, but it was a hobby, definitely. And then I just did more and more at school, and then again at university, and then I went and trained at drama school in Paris for a couple of years. I think I was excited by the sort of training that they do. I think I knew I wanted to make my own work, and as distinct from being a jobbing actress particularly. And those schools seemed to produce companies that went into that sort of theatre. So it was just instinct, really. And it also did me a lot of good to go away and change. And yeah, and living in Paris for 2 years can never be a bad thing, I don't think. So. Then I travelled around working with theatre companies in various places, and then came back to the UK and started working with some devising companies and really loved it. And then I did a one-woman show in Edinburgh for a company called Tangram, and after that decided that I wanted to try and write my own stuff. And that's when I started working on this show that I'm touring at the moment, You're Not Like the Other Girls, Chrissie. And I took it to Edinburgh in 2010, and then the following spring did a 4-month tour with some rural touring, quite a lot of studio theatres. And then I've done 2 month-long tours since. It's about my French grandmother, and we were close, and I always loved her stories, and she was an incredible storyteller, and funny and very eccentric and emotional and loud and inappropriate, and I don't know, just a real performer, I think. And coming from a family of definitely not performers, I don't know, I found a sort of kinship with her, I think, and she was always crying and always laughing, and I'm a bit that way, so I don't know, we just had this real connection. And I wrote down all her stories and didn't really know what I was going to do with them. That was while I was still at university here. And then I came to, when I was in Paris, I was thinking about her so much because of her growing up there, and started to think about turning them into a show, which I left the school in Paris in 2007 and began working on this in 2009.
We pass thousands of refugees, walking along the road with as much as they can carry. In the back, Annick's little face is glued to the window. No, no, ma petite, we cannot give them all a lift. How would we fit them all in the car? Come, let's sing something. Bon. Frère Jacques, dormez-vous? Not this one. Sur le pont d'Avignon, on y danse, on y danse. Not this one also. Au clair de la lune, mon ami Pierrot, prête-moi ta plume pour écrire un mot. After 15 hours of singing and driving, la gouvernement was ready to wring our necks.
Did your grandmother live to see it?
Yeah, she did. I did it for her in her old people's home just after the Edinburgh run, which was amazing. So it got the great lady's seal of approval. So it's good.
I expect all the families of the other old people there were getting some pressure for somebody to do the same thing.
Maybe. I think more people should write these stories down, though, because when the people die, they vanish, and they're incredible.
And on the doorstep, letters. A pile of letters, a mountain of letters. For who? For me. From who? Cyril. he tells me he loves me, and how he has missed me, and again that he loves me. Pages and pages and pages. It was out of this world, and I have read it all 100 times minimum. Odette told me a pearl on an engagement ring is unlucky, so I had the pearl changed for a diamond. And so now all there was to do was to wait for this war to end.
I grew up in a village in Staffordshire, and I'd have given my right arm if someone had brought a theatre to our village hall. Because my parents would take me along to things every now and again, but it's always a big expedition, it's expensive, and you don't have time, really. And yeah, I mean, the woman Angela, who is also part of Take Art, this particular rural touring scheme, was talking about how she's been running these events in her village for 15 years, and so she's seen her children and their contemporaries grow up seeing all this theatre on their doorstep. I think it's brilliant. And also it's a lot of hard work, because rather than coming into a theatre and the lights and the sound being there and you just need to focus and so on, you know, we carry all of our own kit, our own sound, our own lights. And so it's an entire day of setting up, and then the show, and then taking it all down, packing up, driving to the next place. So it's really tiring, but it's amazing because you get taken into a community that you would never get to know. You meet the most extraordinary people, usually who have wonderful stories, and I don't know, and that thing of, rather than walking through a village like this and maybe going to the pub if there is one, or saying hello to a few people, going into their homes, staying the night, getting to properly chat to people when they help you afterwards, and it's really special.
So, Pate and me, we took the radio upstairs to the attic, and we would sit together in the darkness and listen to the BBC. It was all very hush-hush.
This is London. This morning, Winston Churchill named Lieutenant General...
My biggest ambition was to make my own stuff and travel about with it and make my living from doing that. And I just said to Joe yesterday, gosh, it's funny, I'm doing it. It felt like an extremely unlikely prospect when I said that it was what I wanted to do, because people are quite rightly very keen to tell you how difficult it is to make your living from doing something like this. But yeah, I don't know. I think if you really want to, you'll probably end up doing it.
So how big is your team for touring?
Me and Joe. Me and Joe in my little green van. Occasionally I get a nice acting job in a theatre where I don't have as much responsibility, which is really lovely. I love doing that as well. And also the next piece I'm working on is a bit bigger. There is me, another performer, actress, and another performer, musician. So 3 of us plus a director. It's suddenly much bigger.